So let me see if I can explain the light reactions of photosynthesis a little bit better. I was going to do a fill in the blank one with my iPad, but my Apple Pencil is not cooperating. So we'll just do it this way. So there's two phases of photosynthesis: the light dependent reactions, which is often called photolysis, and then the light independent Calvin cycle, or it's also known as carbon fixation. When we talk about carbon being fixed, what we really mean is we're incorporating it into a molecule of glucose. So it's often called, just think of it as incorporation. So during photosynthesis, chlorophylls absorb free energy from the light, boosting electrons to a higher energy level. And we say that these electrons are excited. So imagine them just hanging out, being chill, and then all of a sudden they're inundated with sunlight and they become excited about that. And so they're boosted to a higher energy level in photosystems 1 and 2. Photosystems 1 and 2 are just a series of proteins that are embedded in the thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. So we're looking at each like individual little stack of pancake, if you will, in the chloroplast. And they are connected to one another by a transfer of higher free energy electrons. They're connected through an electron transport chain. So let's talk about what happens. There's basically three steps. So just to kind of orient ourselves here, we've got this area represents a portion of the thylakoid membrane. And so light is going to hit the chloroplast and cycle through, and in doing so, it excites these electrons into a higher energy state, which is here and here. And so these photosystems are just photosynthetic pigments. So light will excite the chlorophyll electrons, causing them to become energized. Now, in the second step, the excited, energized electrons pass through the electron transport chain, making ATP through chemiosmosis. Okay, so here you've got your electrons being passed from one part of the electron transport chain to another. We are actively pumping hydrogen ions across the membrane. That's where this energy is used. Then they'll diffuse back through ATP synthase, creating ATP. And again, remember, in this case, it's known as photophosphorylation. So it's photo because we're using light to excite the electrons to drive the phosphorylation process. And we're adding an inorganic phosphate to ADP. Then in step 3, the electrons plus a hydrogen atom plus the electron carrier NADP, those two things will provide energy for the Calvin cycle. And so we're really just generating a smidge of energy that's going to power the Calvin cycle, where we actually are going to create the glucose molecule. And then the electrons are replaced by photolysis, where we split water and donate those electrons to the ETC, and the oxygen is put out into the atmosphere. So those are the light reactions.